welcome to Stories with Kiran. And I am very happy and humbled and excited to have with us Murali Sundaram. Tell us something about your journey. From your childhood to the professional to trainer to coach, and now you have many facets.
I am fascinated in teaching from the age of 8. All my children who lived along with me, they come and ask me, Anna, can you teach me this? Somehow I was able to understand any subject, even they are elder kids. Somehow at the age of 8 or 9, I realized that I have a very curious mind on teaching subjects, even which I have not studied. I can just read a book and I can quickly simplify it. And that's how I started my life as a teacher from the age of 8 or 9, as a trainer or a coach. You can name whatever you want. But then after finishing my schooling, I went into graduation. I thought I will get into a medical because I am always fascinated on this human body. I wanted to become a doctor, but unfortunately, due to interesting rules by the government, just by 0.1%, okay, 0.1 mark, I didn't get an admission to a medical university. And what I ended up in getting was a pharmaceutical industry. I ended up studying, becoming a pharmacist. And no, at that day, I really felt very bad that why I could not get a medical seat. But today, I'm super happy and thrilled that I didn't get that. Okay, and then I studied pharma because, again, I was so fascinated how this one small medicine goes inside and does all the jadoo inside of the healing part of it. So, but then I worked in the pharma industry, but I was always I worked in the sales for the last for close to 9 years. But I always, more than a salesman, I was more of a teacher over there, more as a manager, more as a leader, teaching others how to sell faster and better. So I always asked my manager, can you just give me the training department so that I can make everyone sell better? But they don't want to lose a good sales guy. So they ignored giving me that. That's where I met one day an amazing person by name Dr. Brian Tracy, who just told that if you have a passion, you just focus only on that passion and live your dreams. And next day morning, happily went to my boss and I said, "Boss, I'm resigning. Thank you very much." And they were all shocked by my decision. And that's one of the most interesting turning point of my life. Why? Because I had zero idea how the whole industry will be without knowing anything, just with the hope, just with the belief that I can go and transform the lives across the world, a million lives. I just jumped straight away with a leap of faith. Okay. But then, if you don't know anything and you jump somewhere, you will go through all the errors and trials and mistakes and everything, right? So the first 5 years was like one nightmare ride over there, ups and downs and failure after failure without knowing anything. Just to live the dream, okay, just to live your dream, just to live your passion of what you're really good at it. It's actually not an easy road. It's actually a tough road. So went through all the troubles and, losses and business losses, emotional losses, partnership, cheating, everything happened, okay, like in any movie. Whatever would have happened, everything would have happened, okay, in that whole ball game. But every time, whenever I failed, I remembered my teacher's words. Brian Tracy beautifully said, Murali, if you want to succeed in life, he said, fail faster. Every time you fail faster, get up and run. That was his one valuable wisdom I always got from him. And every time I failed, at least 8 or 9 times I failed until I got hang of the whole thing, and slowly. But I was just staying true to my path of bringing transformation in the whole world. So it took many years to reach where I am right now. So, but I think what I realized is if you just stay true to your passion and with grit and patience and perseverance, anything is possible. Okay, that's what I can see today. Though my goal is 1 million, so far I've reached only 2,83,000, close to 3 lakhs only. So a long way to go for me. So I hope I will complete my mission of 1 million. Once I touch the 1 million, probably I will change it to another 1 million. I don't know. So that's how I started my career as a medical representative, and today I'm in a different path, helping changing lives in a different way and creating more teachers today. So I love creating more coaches and trainers and teachers. Thereby, even if 1 billion is possible, yes, it's possible. So if I can create 10,000 world-class trainers and even each and one of them can impact 1 million people, we actually can change the whole world. So that's how my life journey is, Kiran, so far.
You are coach or trainer or teacher to lakhs of people. Who were your gurus or who are your gurus, and what is the treasure of wisdom you have got from them?
Whenever the student is ready, the teacher appears in front of him. Right? So it's a very old saying by our masters in our land. I think there were not one master or one teacher. I have been very fortunate to get the blessings of many masters across my life, right from the age of 8 or 9. My grandfather was my first master teacher who lived with me, who actually started teaching me a lot about life. I learned a lot from my grandfather. From there, I started, and then I ended up in meeting varieties. Even my first boss was a very good master for me. She was an iron lady, so I learned how you should have that grit and willpower from her. So there were different masters at different times come and teach, because I personally believe every day is a teacher, everyone around you is a teacher. So I ended up in learning from everyone around me. But to have a very clear understanding who was an amazing master, for example, for public speaking, if you ask me, as an orator, Swami Chinmayananda was an amazing inspiration for me. That the sound and the tonality with which he spoke, okay, that really impressed, and I learned a lot of modeling from his body language, the tonality, the way in which he presented. So with respect to that, I learned from him, okay, not directly, indirectly. It's like an ekalai way of learning everything indirectly. And then Brian Tracy made a huge mark in my life, teaching management and business a lot. I learned a lot from him. On the spiritual side, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev brought a huge, tremendous change in the way in which I look at energy and life and the life in totality. My Reiki teacher was an amazing master for me to teach. So, I ended up in having different varieties of teachers in my life. I ended up in learning a lot, right from for Blair Singer, an amazing, compassionate, ruthless master. So there were varieties of teachers came up in my life, and every day I ended up in learning a lot from many people.
Great. Thank you. Since we're talking about teachers, I would like you to hear from you about your teachers and learnings community, the TLC. If you can quickly, brief us, what is TLC?
TLC stands for Teachers or Leaders Community. Why? Because again, my teacher Blair Singer uttered one statement that teachers are the real leaders in the world, because the whole world lacks leaders, and who can produce a leader is a teacher. So if you produce a world-class teacher, the byproduct of a world-class teacher will be world-class leaders. Thereby, the nation and the society will be better. So, when I started my journey, I didn't get the right kind of support as a trainer or a coach or a teacher. Then I had to struggle a lot, went everywhere to learn, and went to many places, many masters, spent lakhs and lakhs of rupees to learn. Then I realized there is no one academy which can empower a coach or a trainer on all the three skills, like coaching skills and business skills and technology skills. There's no one academy to teach all the three who can understand. So that's the reason I created this institution called Teachers or Leaders Community. In short, it's called TLC. So now it's a global learning platform with a mission to create 100,000 authors, coaches, trainers, and speakers. Okay.
Wow.
So that's the whole mission with which we are working, and we have opened up in multiple cities now. Right now, we have started in Chennai, now in Mumbai and Delhi and Hyderabad, Bangalore, Bhopal, Visakhapatnam, in various places we are opening step by step.
Wow. So, Murali, you have authored so far 6 books. What is that secret of you become Amazon bestseller?
Then I have to tell you a story for that, because once upon a time I thought that I can't even write. I thought that I can't write. I can only speak and I can only train. So I thought that who will read my words? I think I can't read. My English was poor, because till I completed my schooling, I was not so good with English language. So it's broken English. Till finished a college also to some extent. Okay? So I always had that limiting belief that I can't write. But one day my partner, who came and challenged me that, Murali, you need to break your own limiting belief, because you are a happiness coach. Okay? Now, how do you become unhappy is by adding a lot of limiting beliefs. So I think this is one small element is there which you have to break your own limiting belief. So So I took that as a challenge and said, okay, let me break my own belief and start writing. Okay. Then I was thinking where to go and write. Then I found an amazing place called Facebook. And on that day, I had some 120 friends in my Facebook list, 120, 140. I said, okay, let me write only in my Facebook wall, open it only for friends so that the world will not see. Okay. So what maximum will happen is these 140 friends may even press like or may even shout or comment bad about me. So I said, okay, let me take the risk with them. And every day I started writing a small 150, 100 words article I started writing. And you know what? The best thing is they all started liking whatever I wrote and they started sharing. So slowly, the confidence started growing inside me. Then I opened up to the whole world and I started writing lots and lots of happiness lessons every single day. So that's how the happiness course was actually born before even I wrote the books. So till date, I've written 1082 happiness lessons so far. So every day I send that through email to all my subscribers and followers. And one day then again, it's a whole journey that Brian was telling that he does only 3 things in his life. So I was so inspired. What are the 3 things? He said, see, I am very good in doing only 3 things in my life and rest everything I outsource. So I was paying keen attention. What are the 3 things? He said that I am very good in speaking, I am very good in writing, and I am very good in recording. So that day I made a decision. Okay, speaking, okay, I have to some extent I have developed my skills and I can always become a good speaker. So next one is writing. So I said, okay, let me also become an author, because he says that the word authority has the word author. The fastest way to build your authority or become a mini celebrity in your life is to become an author or speaker. So I said, speaker is tick. Let me become an author, and that's how I started writing. No, first book was one of the most horrible book. Now I will not go back and read my own book. It's like one khichdi of all my blog articles and my newsletters and articles put together. I came with a framework and I created my first book itself. So, but that one book, it took a lot of time, a lot of hesitation. But then after that, I found out the formula to write a book and how do I do that. And now, I can write a book faster now. Within 48 hours also I can write a book now. So that, because it's a very simple template. And then later there are a lot of other interesting realization today that actually no one buys the book. And even if they buy the book also, 95% of the people who buy the book, they don't even read beyond 50 pages. So according to me today, if you ask me, everyone should write a book. Everyone should become an author. And that's what I teach in my community also to all my trainers and coaches, that everyone should write their book, because there are a lot of mess we have created. The mess can become message and they can heal someone. So write the book, not to sell, but to gift. So today I only gift my books. So today I ask everyone also to write a book to gift, because ultimately it gives you an authority status and it becomes a good marketing brochure for you. That's your big business card for you. Use book as your marketing tool. So that's what I teach now. How do you become an Amazon bestseller? It's a very interesting way of becoming an Amazon bestseller. It's a huge secret behind that. And it's a big science behind an Amazon selling of how many books is sold in a particular day. And there's a huge strategy is being applied in becoming an Amazon bestseller process. So that happens. If you ask a good publisher, they will always help you to get.
They will always help. Yeah. I know. See, you were one of the book publishing boot camps. I was present there, and that's the day. It changed my life, and I got my book published because of that boot camp, and the same learnings I got from there. And I'm sure many will now, they will be inspired to write the book from today.
Yeah, right now in my TLC, there are 40 authors are right now writing the book.
Wow.
Right now, it's going to come in another 2 months' time.
Wow.
40 authors are coming up.
Wow. So, Murali, you have trained so many people, executives so far. And whenever I have attended your training, I have always, experienced that you are amazing with stories. From where and how you will bring story, I don't know. Every day I am receiving one story from you on email. Okay, that's another piece. So I would like you to tell people how you build, your training along with stories. How, if I am a trainer and I want to use a story, how you combine, what's your formula? How you do that?
See, storytelling is, I think it's part and parcel of every human life. I think we are all storytellers. Okay, everyone is a storyteller. Either you are a storyteller or a story listener. Literally, point, period. That's it. I think it's a human nature right from the cave dwelling age to till now. All of us are only telling stories after stories. And I think in our family, we used to tell a lot of stories. We listen a lot of stories from our grandpas and grandmas. So storytelling is it's part and parcel of the human mind itself. So whenever someone wanted me to speak anything, okay, the easiest way is to tell a story, because I always say that if you don't want to preach, okay, put a story in your speech. So thereby you don't have to preach, become more preachy, right? You can actually tell a very quick story. So how do I create stories is day-to-day observation. Basically, how do you create stories is just by day-to-day observation. When you speak with human beings, okay, they actually talk about their human journey, emotions, failures. So listen to that emotional story and write it down. The key important for any trainer or coach is that I have a huge book, a separate book only for story journaling. I have a separate journal only for stories. I write down every story when I hear directly from someone, or when I watch in YouTube, when I read in a book, or when I attend any other seminar, lecture, TEDx, or anywhere. When they tell a story, now I'm more interested in that story, and I will quickly come back and write down that particular story. So I have a huge library of stories I have created. So, and then I filter it out, and I have some best of the best in that. Some 40-50 stories are there. 40-50 best stories I have always collected from that. And one story is applicable in various places also, depending upon the objective of that particular content. So I mix and match that story wherever I need, and depending upon the context, because storytelling sets the whole context itself. So that's how I create stories for my trainings and courses and coaching.
Superb. And when you said context, I remembered about that. Content is not important. Context is important.
Absolutely.
I would like you to elaborate more on facts tell, stories sell. We have always learned it from you only, many times in many of your trainings. Facts tell and stories sell. If you can elaborate it more.
Facts tell, stories sell. Okay, to understand this, I have to tell you a story for this. Why this is important. Okay, and this story is about an young villager, okay, young man, okay, who always, he always so curious about creation and why this is all this happening, and he was always, more towards spiritual path and philosophy of life and meaning of life. He tried to ask everyone. Everyone thought he's gone nut loose, and they always discourage him. But one day, one old lady said that, see, looks like you are more curious on philosophy of life. I know 200 kilometers from here on a small hill, there is a monastery is there. I heard that there is a master over there. Why don't you go and ask him? So immediately he got really excited, and he packed his bag and he traveled for 200 kilometers and he started trekking the hill. And he went to the top of the hill. He found an amazing, beautiful garden, a lot of butterflies there. And then he saw a very small monastery. And as he entered the monastery, he saw a lot of monks, in saffron robes and walking here and there. He went and asked, I heard a master here. I have a lot of burning questions in my head. The minute they looked at him, they actually saw him. The minute they saw him, they saw them few years before. They said, okay, go to their office and register your name. They will guide you. So he went to the admin office and he said, I want to meet the master. He said, okay, no problem. Just sign this register. 4 o'clock, master will come and do a lecture. Darshan will be there. Go and sit in that big lecture hall. So he went and sat there. Lot of disciples and monks were sitting, and along with him he was sitting, and 1.5 hours the master gave one big lecture, and a lot of young disciples were asking a lot of questions. For every question, when someone asked, the master used to tell a story. He will not answer it directly. And whenever he told the story, everyone started clapping and said, wow, fantastic. And this guy started scratching his head. Why this disciple is asking and he tells a story and they're clapping? Why can't he tell the answer, yes or no? So he became so curious now to go and ask him, okay, why are you telling a story? Why can't you just directly tell what is this creation and philosophy of life? But he didn't have the guts to go and ask him on that day. So he decided to stay the next day. And next day he will get one small private time to go and ask. Next day also he could not get that time. The same thing happened the second day evening. Third day evening, he was so determined that whatever happens in today's lecture, I will go and ask this master. So at the end of the lecture, everyone left. He was sitting over there and the master didn't leave, and he was looking at him and smiling. So he immediately went to the master and said, Master, I have a question. Is it okay if I can ask you? I said, okay, go ahead, my dear child. What do you want? Last 3 days I'm observing and I have a lot of questions, and all your students have asked the same question what I wanted to ask you. But for every question they asked you, you are only telling a story, master. Why are you not telling a direct answer? Yes or no, or this is what it is. The master looked at him and smiled and said, okay, can you just, the last 90 minutes I'm talking, I'm a little thirsty. Can you just get me some water? So he ran to the kitchen and brought a bowl of water and handed it over to him. So the master took the bowl of water and I looked at him and asked, what did I ask you? Master, you asked me for water. Yes, but why did you bring the bowl? So it was a big question mark for him. He said, no, then otherwise how will I give you the water? Then he looked at him and said, that's called stories. Stories are the bowl which carries the message along with it. And that's the reason why I tell stories. Because it's very easy to share a message just by telling a story itself. Okay? So that's the reason why every one of us, okay, you're a parent or a teacher or a coach or a trainer or a businessman, all of us are storytellers in our life. Okay, some are good, great storytellers, some are mediocre, some are good. That's it. That's the reason. Facts tell, stories sell, because they can sell an idea faster than before. And that's what all the world's great salesmen are all about. Okay, if you observe salesmen, they will not sell the feature of the product. They always talk about the future of the customer after you buy the product. That's an art in storytelling, right? So if you observe a great storyteller, a salesman, I read a book, one of my influential salesmen is called Joe Gerard. Okay, Joe Gerard is an amazing salesman. No one has beat his record till date. Okay, he's a guy who has sold the maximum number of luxurious cars, 14 cars every day for 20 years. No one was able to beat his record. This fellow is damn good in telling stories. Whenever there is a problem, he just sells it very easily by telling a story. Because as a salesman, you need to ensure that you put the customer as the hero of your story. Simple. Put your customer as the hero of your story and tell a story. Stories will sell faster for you as a businessman, as a salesman, as a parent, or a teacher. It works fantastically. So that's the reason why facts people will forget. Stories, no one will forget.
You just mentioned about the Joe Gerard, and I haven't heard about it, but which are the books which you will recommend to our viewers that they should read if they want to be good in storytelling, to practice that?
One interesting book everyone should read is Secrets of Leadership by Prakash Iyer. A very interesting book, full of stories. Everyone can resonate because many stories are connected to leadership, cricket, and life. So everyone will love. Lots and lots of stories are there. That's one book. Another book with respect to a very interesting book is by Building a Story Brand. Okay, I think it's Millard, Donald Millard somewhere. I don't remember. That's a very good book for business owners. And another book is Sell with a Story by Paul Smith. It's a beautiful book. If you want to sell an idea to someone, sell anything to anyone, okay, a must-read book is called Sell with a Story by Paul Smith. These are all some interesting books on storytelling.
Wow. Prasad Rajgopalan is founder of Stories for Training. Stories for Training is world's first OTT channel, which is dedicated to stories for presenters.
Thank you, Kiran, and thank you, Murali. It has been an honor listening to you. And I just remembered a quote from Kendall Evans' book, Story Proof. He says, storytelling is the expressway into the human mind, because we human beings are hardwired for stories. But due to evolutionary reasons, storytelling is the best way to engage a person. And for a presenter, for a trainer, for a teacher, the biggest challenge is how do you start a conversation with your audience? And storytelling is the best way. So what we have done is we have created a easy to use solution to start a conversation with your audience. We have created a library of 90-second inspiring story-based animated videos, which you just select a story, play a story, create an engagement, get the attention, and then you can start influencing your audience. So this is the Stories for Training channel, and we have got three categories: for presentation, for value education, and Bollywood se Seeko. So we have created a library of 90-second story-based videos. So each video is based on business parables and moral parables. And we have right now voiceover in English and Hindi. We also created a series called Bollywood se Seeko. Using popular Hindi film dialogues, we have created 90-second stories. So for a presenter, like whenever you want to engage, start a conversation with your audience, you can just select a story, play it, start talking about the story. So you create an engagement, then you get your attention and start your session. I'll just play one story from Bollywood se Seeko.
तेरा क्या होगा कालिया?
सरदार, मैंने आपका नमक खाया है।
अब गोली खा। जो डर गया समझो मर गया। जो डर गया समझो मर गया। जो डर गया समझो मर गया। जो डर गया समझो मर गया।
सरदार, जो डर गया समझो मर गया।
हैं?
So the best way you can engage your audience is if you can make them smile. So thank you, Murali, for joining. So I would like to ask you, like, how useful do you think this platform will be, and how can people use this platform to engage their audience?
See, for presenters like me, okay, every single day we always look out for new content, new metaphorical way to tell and communicate. Okay? And it took many years for me to create my story journal. Okay, a journal of some 400, 500 metaphors and stories and everything. And you have just created one small OTT channel where people don't have to spend that 5 years and 6 years of reading through varieties of material. It's all just there in one place. And I believe it's going to be a treasure trove for any presenter, trainer, or coach, because it's very easy for us to know. For example, you just played one small video. And whenever I'm speaking to my client, and if they are really scared, they have a little bit of fear, this one thing can immediately shift the whole mood. No? So that's that's what a presenter or a coach or trainer. So it's an amazing thing that you have done. God bless you for creating this amazing stuff and helping all presenters and teachers. Thereby, we can actually impact the society. Amazing, Prasad. Fantastic work.
And Murali, that your secret ingredient, Dadi ka nuskha or Guru ka nuskha, that I want to become a storyteller. I want to keep on telling stories in my trainings. And how you do that, and what you will tell me that how I can do that.
With respect to story, there are 4 types of stories. First, you need to be very clear what type of story you want to tell. Okay? Either it's a story about me, story of me, or it can be a story of us. Us means, for example, the story of story for training company. That's us. Okay, or the story of results. Okay? One project results, or a story of an idea. So generally, all the stories can be categorized in any of these 4. So you need to be very clear first what category it will be in. Okay, which category are you going to talk about you or your brand or your team or your results that you got or the idea that you want to share. That's number 1. Number 2, very, very easy to tell a story. That's one of the most easiest thing in the world is to tell a story. And where do you learn? Very simple. Go and watch lots of Hollywood movies and Bollywood movies. You will learn the art of storytelling. Why? Because every world's best movie follows the same story pattern, follows the same pattern. There is no difference, okay? And this template was written many years ago. I think in 19 before independence. Okay, I don't remember the year. It's called Journey of a Hero by Joseph Campbell. Very old classic. It's a very same story of any hero in any movie. I'm sure you would have watched the latest Avengers or any of these Avatar movies or any of the movie in the world. Okay, it will go through the same Lord of the Rings, any movie, Harry Potter, anywhere. Okay, the story starts in one small place where they introduce all the characters and they start living, and then they suddenly one small twist in the plot happens. Either someone kills their family or steals something from them. They get that emotion, I have to go and win. And then they start on a journey, an adventurous journey towards succeeding. And when they go in that journey, they meet a lot of allies or mentors, okay? And they guide them, they support them, and then they reach the final climax where they meet the villain, they fight with the villain, and they kill the villain, and they retrieve it, okay? And then the moral of the story comes, and then after that, they will come back to the normal life. If you observe all the world's best Hollywood movie, Bollywood movie, any blockbuster, always follows the same pattern only. Any novel you would have studied, same pattern. Okay? Even the story sometime before I said, also followed the same pattern. If you just understand, started from a village, then he went there, the twist happened, and then the moral of the story. So it's always the journey of a hero. He starts somewhere, then suddenly some twist happens, and that's where the theme is born. The twist is a template context setting for the theme, whether it's going to be a revenge theme or some innovation theme or chasing victory or anything. It all there. Someone kidnapped your family and then they went and chased something, or a failure story and then you rags to riches. It can be anything. So again, this is a very powerful template. Absolutely powerful template. The same template every great master storyteller follows, because this is a powerful template. You don't have to break your head. Watch one Hollywood movie, just decode it, you will understand. Same template only everywhere happens. Any Hollywood movie. So all you need is just follow this simple template of a journey of a hero. You read the book called Journey of a Hero by Joseph Campbell. In very quickly you will understand the whole template. Then you can add a lot of extra fittings and characterization and setting up, and all these things will happen. So again, you can make it much more better by adding a lot of sensorial perceptions of what the character is seeing, what they hear, and all these things will come. It's all additional fitting. But this is the template of telling a story. But before that, you need to be very clear what story you're going to tell and to whom you're telling. Based on that, you have to tell.
Yeah. So in your language, you have to set the context first, then content will follow.
Absolutely. Always it is a context. Context is the king and content is the queen. Okay, so always the content is not that important. Always the context is important. It's the context is like the cup, the chai cup you're holding and drinking tea. Just imagine if there is no cup, how will you drink tea? So the tea is the content, but what holds the tea, the content is the context, okay? Because then only the context is more important than the content, then only you will be convincing.
Yeah. Great. And what is your favorite movie?
Shashank Redemption.
And what is your favorite book?
The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Sarita Bode, who is a teacher, she's asking, how must I create interest in senior class grade 6 to 9 as I am a teacher?
Oh, for grade 6, it's very easy. You have to paint the imagination of the child. Okay, you need to use a lot of pictorial visualization process because their imagination is right now burning. Okay, so you need to feed their imagination. So very easy to involve them in telling a huge story. So you need to follow the same template of a journey of a hero and make it more interesting, make it more lively, do it little slow in a rhyming and rhythmic way. Thereby they can follow you. But again, the same story you can, for example, in my home, when my children were all at that age, I had a perennial story running in my home. Okay? A story about brinjal. When my children were 4 years old, I started telling that story of Brinjalpur, a story where everyone are brinjals. Okay? So, so it's just an ever-running perennial story for many years I was used to do. So you can also create a story like that. Okay? You create a city, you create a story out of it, and you create various characters and make it continuous and don't stop the story. You tell them, okay, now we'll stop here today, come back tomorrow so that I will tell you the second part of the story. That's one way. Another way for that 6th graders and 9th graders, involve them into the whole storytelling creation. Okay, ask them also to create the character, ask them to create template, ask them to create the plot. They will be fantastic, and so you can have a team game itself by creating stories also.
There is a question about your Happiness University.
Happiness University is very simple. Go to www.unlimitedhappiness.com. Okay, say where I teach all my happiness lessons through my mobile app, Android and iOS app platform, and every day one happiness lesson, a 5-minute video lesson. Every week one book summary of my favorite book, a quick 5 actionable ideas from the book, and thereby it saves you a lot of time in reading. So because I read every day 200 pages, so every week one book summary. Every month I teach one new course in my Happiness University for either for self-development or business development. So one course. There are already 13 courses I've already taught. So all the things are already available. Anyone registers even today. And every month we will have one online live question answer session also, where all the members of the community come. Along with this, we have our WhatsApp group and Facebook group. So my goal is to spread happiness to at least 10,000 families now. So, I made it super affordable. It's only 300 rupees a month because people are spending 650 for Netflix. I believe that people can invest 300 rupees for their own self-happiness and for their own emotional well-being. So I made it very simple because my goal on a larger level is to reach 1 million families. So temporary goal is to reach 10,000 families. So just go to unlimitedhappiness.com and they can register for 300 rupees a month. That's it, done. So simple.
Super. And how to join trainers and leaders community, and what is there for me if I join?
Oh, trainers, teachers or leaders is an it's a very interesting course platform which has 15 varieties of online courses that every trainer and coach has to learn. Okay, right from the coaching certification process. That means if you go through these courses, you will get certified as a coach or a trainer. So you get a certification process. You will learn coaching skills, technology skills, and also the business development skills. Most of the coaches and trainers, they struggle in building a business out of it. They're all very good, passionate coaches and trainers, but they are not trainer-preneur or coach-preneur. So they struggle a lot. So initially, I started off teaching this as a course platform, but then I realized one huge challenge with the current kind of teachers and leaders. Okay, they are knowledge mongers. We grab a lot of knowledge, but we actually don't implement it. So the struggle is not in learning, the struggle is in implementing. So what we did is that we created a community where we will have a weekly meeting every week, that particular circle. In Mumbai, for example, tomorrow we have one Mumbai circle meeting of TLC members, where also even delegates can come and attend, where we meet on a weekly basis and we learn a lot. Every week we learn and we help each other to implement whatever we have learned, receive feedback from each other, and expand our coaching skills, business skills, and technology skills, holding each other accountable so that we can quickly fast track our success. It took more than 15 years for me to reach that. Okay, but because at that time there was no proper accountability system or implementation processes there. So TLC is a platform where you get all the courses, right from how to write a book and get published, how to create your own online courses and sell your online courses, because book or online courses are a good assets for you. So, and then you can also learn how to sell, how to market, how to coach, how do you engage audience, everything a coach requires, a trainer requires. So it's a course platform and a weekly meeting platform, and also a community of all the like-minded coaches and trainers, authors and speakers across the whole country. We all have a back-end private social network is there where we all meet and connect with each other and help each other. So that's how it works. It's a very, very simple platform we created to again create world-class coaches and teachers.
Murali, you have been talking a lot about this getting 8-minute breath per minute.
Yes.
So what was your inspiration and what is the scientific reasoning behind it?
Breath at work.
Breath at work.
Oh, it's a very interesting way of looking at one answer for my query, which was there not unanswered, because I taught a lot, but people were not implementing. So I was always curious to know why human beings are not taking action. So that was always my question, why everyone knows everything, okay? Eating junk food is bad, everyone knows. You have to take care of your health, everyone knows, okay? But people don't take action. So I always more curious why that is. And then later I realized, learning from my yogic science and my neuroscience, that there is a specific area in the brain for action center. If that area of the brain becomes active, you will take action. You will not think a lot. You will just take action and then you learn it. There is a interesting software and a hardware available where you can actually measure, okay, whether the oxygen is going there or not, and how that is connected to every breath in you. So I went and measured more than 25,000 professionals, leaders, executives, how many times they are all breathing and what is the connection between the breathing, the oxygen level to the brains, that particular area. What I found out, on an average, human beings are breathing at 14 to 20 breaths per minute. Every minute, 14 to 20 times a minute they were all breathing. But world-class successful leaders, they were all breathing 7 or 8 breaths per minute only. Thereby the brain started processing a faster way, like the latest i7 and i10 processor, right? So that the action center of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex of the brain, started working effectively, and that's the reason they were able to execute an idea, so without thinking too much. So this is the action center of the brain. So for this, you need to supply oxygen, you need to breathe slowly and deeply. But the most interesting part is our ancestors gave a reply for this question 2000 years before, that to have a healthy life, a happy life, and put this machine at the peak performance, all you need is only 5 breaths per minute. So if you can practice to do 5 breathings per minute, 1 inhale and 1 exhale 5 times a minute, your human body works at the highest possible efficiency. So that's the reason I ended up in teaching at least 8 breaths, starting with 8 breaths, then slowly come to 7. After 2-3 months, you come to 6 and come to 5. So that's how the whole journey of this 8 breaths came into my life.
How do you start teaching students to develop interest in writing stories?
For teaching students to writing stories?
Yes.
First you have to start reading stories to them. It starts with you read. As a parent, you start reading a lot of stories to them and get them inspired with these stories. And then slowly kindle them, give them few words, give them few situations, ask them to craft a story on their own, and appreciate them and motivate them. And then slowly only you can motivate them to start writing stories. But they need to have that flair. They have to have that interest, and they have to see you doing as a parent. Then only it is possible for you to impress them. Otherwise, it is not possible to teach them. But again, the same template only. It's not a rocket science template. Same template, journey of a hero. Always remember that it's very easy for anyone to produce a story.
How to add stories to technology trainings? It's okay, soft skill training, I am teaching you presentation, communication, life skills. You can add stories. If it is a technology, I am an IT guy. How can I add stories?
See, this is where metaphors play a major role, metaphorical language. For example, yesterday, I was with the coaches and trainers, and I instantly said, okay, let's create content right now. We have to create content right now, okay? And they all asked, from where? I said, okay, right now all of us are inside Zoom, okay? Let's use Zoom as a metaphor. Every feature of the Zoom, come up with the content out of it, okay? And then beautiful people came up with some fantastic metaphorical way that, you scream and shout with the mute button on, the world cannot hear you. So you have to unmute yourself if you want the world to hear you. I'm just giving you a random example of how a technological part of mute and unmute can be connected to any part of it. So you can do the opposite of it. You bring in, you can actually, if you're teaching theoretical, technological, computer programming languages, okay, can you create avatars like Shah Rukh Khan and Amir Khan, part of the computer coding? So how they will behave and how they will talk to each other, how they will, what will happen if this function is pressed? So similarly, I still remember my chemistry teacher. The way in which he inspired our chemistry is by using film actor and actresses. How the covalency bond will come, how the electrovalency bond will. So he will bring in all the heroes and heroines in the whole process and explain. So easier way is movies, the characters, for example, you just Prasad played a beautiful story, of Shole's one small image, right? So That's an easier way to connect with anything, because the whole technology world is what, 1 and 0, right? So you can actually connect with anything to anywhere. So metaphorical language, you can teach any technical training also.
Great. What is that your Himalayan connection?
Right from childhood, I love mountains, so I like trekking. So again, my friend said that Murali, there is a beautiful place called Valley of Flowers in Himalayas where angels and fairies live. So I have never met an angel or fairy. I only read it in books and saw in movies and also. Similarly, okay, let's go and try. Maybe we'll try our luck. At least we will meet a sadhu, or at least a siddhar we will meet, or saint we will meet, something. Okay, angel, we will know. So we decided to go to Valley of Flowers over there. So we ended up going to Valley of Flowers. We never met any angel or fairy because they didn't allow beyond a particular limit, because they said that beyond that we can't go because there are hallucinatory flowers are there. You can't go there because people have gone, they have not come back. Then I said, okay, I just saw some beautiful flowers, mesmerizing flowers and beautiful Himalayas. Okay. The next day, we all went to another place near to Valley of Flowers called Hemkund. Hemkund is a pilgrimage site for Sikhs. At least once in a lifetime, they all want to go there. The minute I touched my feet on Hemkund, okay, I could feel some difference in that whole place itself. It's one of the most pure, holy place in the world. And I saw an amazing lake over there called Hemkund Lake. And the minute you see a lake, you've all been tuned. The minute you see a lake, immediately go and take bath. So there was a temple there. I ignored the temple, went straight to the lake, and I took bath over there. It is ice frozen, 1 degree water. You touch your finger also, you will froze. But somehow I saw some of the Sikhs were taking bath. I also jumped inside, took 7 dips over there with Gayatri Mantra, Japa and all. I just did everything with my, and then it came out of it. And then I sat on the bank, shivering. The whole body was shivering. And then it was a blissful experience of taking a bath in that lake over there. Automatically, my eyes closed and I was in a deep meditation. Inside the deep meditation, I just saw the whole lake in front of me, suddenly becoming the symbol of Om. And it was an amazing, blissful experience. And suddenly, when Sadhu was walking from the water, from the lake, he was just walking on the water with saffron color, beard, and he was talking to me, he's smiling, and everything was in mute. I have no idea what he was talking. And then after some time, he vanished. And then after some time, I just came out of the meditation. I thought, okay, I'm imagining a lot of things. Then after that, then I went to the nearby temple, a Gurudwara over there. But the shock of my life is when I entered the Gurudwara, one big photograph of the person who just met in a meditation picture was there. And I went and asked the person, who is this person? They said, this is Sri Guru Gobind, who consecrated this whole place. So that was one of the most interesting experience, a mystical experience in my life. Why? Because from that day onwards, my whole life started turning in 360-degree super fast speed, like one 10x and 100x speed. My life started functioning, and that is where I ended up in BNI. Okay, before that, I was nowhere in the radar of BNI. And then, a couple of my friends who also came with me, they also said that they also want to take a bath, and I took them to the lake and I started telling them that how this lake is connected to the chakras of the body, and this lake is a chakra purification center, and suddenly started teaching them chakra meditation, which I had no idea how to do that. Suddenly it was coming out of my mouth and I was telling them. And next year, people who all came back and their whole life completely changed. The health problem came out. Financial problem for one of my friends was completely turned around, which he could not solve for 3 years. They all said, wow, something is magic happened in Himalayas. Let's go next year also. Next year also I went, couple of people came, and then when everyone took 7 dips in that lake, and then everyone's life changed. Then the 3rd year onwards, I became a little more conscious, okay, that something is magical over there. And then later I realized that the lake is created by 7 glaciers representing the 7 chakras. So it's a chakra purification center, very, very high energy center. So if someone is really, they want to unblock their chakras, or they have no idea why things are happening in their life, they don't want to understand the logical world, but they just want to get rid of the problem, they should all go to this place and take dip in this lake. It completely purifies it. And right from that day, my life is on fast track. It's I don't know, it's like a bullet train speed my life is running. I can't even imagine the thing that I'm doing right now. Okay, so it's purely the grace of the master the grace of the energy over there, which is making all things happening. So that's the reason why every year I only go there. Every year I go there to shed all my egos, to go and take dip in that lake and rejuvenate myself and do more seva in the world. That's it.